All right. Hello, everyone. We are recording. Thank you for joining us. I am your host. My name is Danae Aballi. I'm a real estate agent here in Orange County, California. And today we're looking at Lake Elsinore. Lake Elsinore is a city in the Inland Empire, which is, of course, Southern California. And my guest today is Jason Devor. He is a local Lake Elsinore resident and expert. So we're getting his local intake. I will tell you, where I'm at in Orange County, it would not be unusual for Jason to come sell real estate here in my county and for me to make a drive and go sell in his county. But he's the local expert, so we're going to get his insight. And it's a fast growing market, so I'm super excited for the chat today. So, welcome to the show, Jason. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing fabulous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on.
Well, I've said it before, but I only have the very best on my show. And Jason and I have been a part of a mastermind together. So I know how he runs his business. He's class act, one of the best. So thanks for coming on. I know you, but my audience does not or may not. Do you want to share kind of your background? Maybe how long have you lived in Lake Elsinore? How long have you been a real estate agent?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Jason Devor. I'm with EHM Real Estate. It's a boutique real estate company, and we do have an office in Southern Orange County, but I do live in Lake Elsinore, which is in Riverside County, and love where I work. I've been doing real estate for 7 years now. I've been a broker for about 4 years, but I do love my company, so I'm sticking around, sticking with it. But I just wanted to increase my knowledge in the industry and be able to serve my clients better, which is why I got the brokerage license.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I've been in Lake Elsinore. I moved out here probably about 6 years ago, and I've been in the same house. And it's a great. I was going to say little town. It used to be a little town, but we are very quickly expanding and growing. But we love it here.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to point out, so the Inland Empire as a whole is massively growing. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal that said according to the USPS, United States Postal Service, the number one address change was to the Inland Empire overall. That was even over and above Phoenix, which I know Phoenix has massive growth. So there's definitely a lot of movement. And I want to hear from you, Jason, from your local perspective, like why, I guess, just overall picture, why are people moving there? What's the draw? And maybe describe geographically where you're at, because I think that's probably a big reason people are moving there. So can you share that with us?
Absolutely. And basically everything that I'm going to share is pretty much why we were drawn to this area
Yeah.
originally. But Lake Elsinore is pretty unique. It's been around for a very long time, since 1888, and has taken on many different sort of faces over that of time. But we're in a really unique scenario right now where we're seeing this huge expansion right now. After the last census came out, we're actually the second fastest, largest growing city by percentage in all of California, which I think is huge. Last time I checked, Lake Elsinore has a huge amount of vacant land. So a few
Mhm.
years ago, when I read a study that said that Lake Elsinore is actually 60% vacant land still, which is a
Wow.
crazy, yeah, it's a crazy statistic because that's like the one thing that's not being made anymore, right? Like God stopped that a long time ago making the land. So it's not very much of it left. And it's owned in these huge parcels. So we're getting just a ton of development from these really big names, KB and all these guys coming in and making these really beautiful tract homes. And
Mhm.
we have a big shift. We're a big industrial town, believe it or not, as well as a lot of recreational stuff that's going on. There's actually just a couple of years ago, the city invested multiple millions of dollars in a state of the art RV camping facility on the lake. And it's so advanced that when you come in and you check in, they give you a wristband, and that's like your scan to open up the bathrooms and to get into different stuff. You can pay on it. I mean, it's really state of the art and beautiful. We have the we have a minor league baseball stadium that's fed from the Padres, and that's been around for almost 30 years. The lake itself is actually the largest natural lake in Southern California, which is an interesting statistic. And so we get a lot of people riding their boats, and there's a lot of great fishing and all kinds of stuff. So it's a great general recreational sort of town, and everyone's got RVs in their driveways and all their toys and stuff like that. So it's a cool place. Geographically, we're just east of the Santa Ana Mountains. So what makes it a great location for travel? I mean, I'm an hour from the beach. I'm an hour from the desert. I'm 4 hours from Vegas. I'm an hour from the mountains. I'm an hour to San Diego, an hour to LA. I mean, you're right smack dab basically in the middle of anything. And so everything is just a really quick retreat.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for that. There's so many things I wanted to like interrupt you and be like, wait, let's talk more about that. There's a lot happening in Lake Elsinore, and I did not know about the RV park and the wristbands and all of that. That's super cool. One thing you said that caught my attention though is definitely all the vacant land, because I think California, not I think, I know California has such a huge housing shortage. And so one of the problems is, people are trying to convert their garages to build more units, but we need land. So if you have the land and you're starting to see developers come in there, one thing I love about that is when a big builder comes in, like you said, the KB Homes or maybe Pulte's going there, whoever's going there, they tend to build out really nice subdivisions. And then you've got parks and libraries and all sorts of things that come with it, as opposed to some other cities that it might be infill projects where it's just one-off houses kind of filling in random parcels. Are you seeing kind of that master planned build out, or what does the landscape look like?
Yeah, so it's definitely a little bit of both. I mean, there are the huge parcels, but because Lake Elsinore is so old, there are still a lot of those onesie twosies that are
Hmm.
available. And the city has done a great job working with the utility companies, trying to make sure that there is sewer and that there is water and that it's
Okay.
not too far. So being able to build is definitely a possibility if you want just like an individual lot, I would say.
Hmm.
And the average size lot is probably between 7 and 9,000 square feet, so they're good size.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. I've often mentioned it before, but I live in Irvine. There's a particular neighborhood called Orchard Hills, and in Orchard Hills, you've got beautiful real estate, 3 and 4 million, but it's brand new construction, which means most of them, the backyards are about 15, 20 feet deep, and that's it. So even when you go up to the $3, $4 million price range, it's really hard to find something that has a backyard these days because land is so valuable. So if you are getting kind of that bigger lot, it has a ton of value. And with COVID, we have seen kind of the movement of people wanting to sell sort of the smaller condo. For example, you might be moving from Orange County, where I'm at. You might sell a 2 bed, 2 bath condo and be able to go out to Lake Elsinore and get a house for the same price, and have the yard. So if you have the dog, the kids, what have you, land and backyard is definitely something that makes for a better quality of life. Um, yeah.
Definitely a fresh
Um,
commodity.
yeah. So it is a real estate show. So of course I want to ask you about the real estate numbers. I kind of threw out there you might be able to sell in Orange County for, like, trade in the 2 bed, 2 bath condo for a big house. But what are you seeing as far as pricing?
So pricing is still fantastic compared to Orange County, compared to Los Angeles, compared to San Diego. Obviously,
Hmm.
we have seen the same increases that you're seeing everywhere due to supply issues and low interest rates, which obviously are changing as we speak.
Yep.
But there's still really low inventory. So our average sales price in Lake Elsinore is about 550 for a single family home, which depending on where you are in the country listening, you're probably thinking like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!" And some of you are like, "What, 550?" But 550 is really good. That would get you a nice 2,500 on average square foot house, 3 to 4 bedrooms with a loft and a nice backyard and room for your RV on the side of the house. So it's a very good middle of the range price, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a couple clients here in Orange County that are looking for a 2 bed, 2 bath condo, and we're having a very hard time in the 600 to 700,000 price range. So you do certainly get more for your money by going to the Riverside County and just that, I would say, the Temecula Valley overall. Although my understanding of it, Temecula and Murrieta is going to be a lot more expensive than Lake Elsinore. So Lake Elsinore is kind of a hidden gem in a way, in that way.
It definitely is. Yeah, as you get farther south, like Temecula is really known for they're the wine country, if you've ever
Hmm.
heard that term. And so they're a little bit of a different demographic. They're a little bit more built out as far as retail and other things that might provide jobs in the town. We are a little bit of a pillow town currently. We don't have a ton of jobs because we are mostly industrial. So we got a lot of square footage, but not a lot of jobs per square foot for those industrial
Wow.
spaces. But we have, in just the past couple years, we've had a super Walmart being built. We have, I mean, don't think we're some small little town. We've got the Targets and the Home Depots of the world. So we are growing for sure.
Yeah. Um, Anything else you want to mention as far as the economy? This could be anything from the downtown is growing, any major employers coming in, any new freeways coming in, anything come to mind there?
Sure. We have a great downtown Main Street area that is growing. That's kind of cool shops. There's a lot of restaurants down there. We have the outlets at Lake Elsinore over here, which they're going through a transition right now. They're not wanting to be outlets anymore, but we literally have it's called Craft Brewing Company. They're building a restaurant and tasting room at the outlets. We have axe throwing that's going in at the outlets over there. So they're
Oh,
sort of
cool.
going through. Yeah, it's very cool environment over there. We do, like I said, have a beautiful downtown Main Street with lots of eateries and things like that. There is on the books, in the works. Um, we have seen an application, sort of pre-application, I should say, for, all I can say is they are a Fortune 100 company, closer to the top of that Fortune 100 company list, looking for industrial space
Ah,
in our town. And so they are in pre-application process right now. And there's already sort of an area sort of towards the southern side of Lake Elsinore that they're kind of looking at taking over. So that would be a really exciting win for us, I think.
why would that be a win? It bring jobs to the area?
Yeah, I would say jobs. And there's only a handful of top Fortune 100 companies, so we're all guessing on who it is. But there's only so many out there, so it would be great to be able to add that
Sure.
a big name to our town for sure.
Awesome. Well, you did mention the downtown, and I will say some of the other newer communities like Temecula or Murrieta, they're going to have a lot more, and Irvine, where I'm at, they have a lot more, I would say, like shopping centers. And I still love when a town has an actual downtown, meaning you can start on one end of the street and walk past all the shops all the way to the end of the street. And you do have that kind of quaint feel there, but then you also have the big box stores. So it's kind of a fun little downtown center.
Yeah, it's very cool. The city's doing a good job. There's a downtown merchants association, and so they work with the city all the time, making sure that they have the right mix and the right activities and things. There's all kinds of, we do car shows on Main Street all the time, and just a lot of cool stuff that the city does a really good job putting on.
Awesome. Well, I will say, tell us about the weather.
Yes. We are in a desert technically, so we get the highs and we get the lows, but we get a beautiful wind right off the Santa Ana Mountains that come down. So even in the summertime, it's not too stagnant. There's a nice little
Mhm.
breeze that comes through every once in a while. But normal weather, I would say, just in general. Again, just we're in a desert, so we do get the highs and lows, but that's pretty much in
Yeah.
regards to weather.
Well, and if you live in Southern California, you know what that means. But if you live in, I don't know, New York or somewhere like that where you haven't been to our area, the weather is called perfect. It's nice all the time. If it's cold, you have to wear a sweatshirt, and if it's hot, no big deal. You just get your flip flops out. But yeah, we have pretty awesome weather.
Yeah, I mean 73 is cold out here,
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
yeah.
I want to ask you about investing, kind of going back to that real estate space. Do you see any opportunity for us investors either buying, would people buy like a second home, vacation home, or is Airbnb a thing there? Anything you want to highlight there?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have a lot of apartments in our town, so
Wow.
the private rental market is actually really big in our area,
Hmm.
and the return on investment as far as percentage goes, I couldn't give you a number right now because things are changing by the day.
Hmm.
But in general, long-term rental investments have always been a good decision. Obviously, with the long-term growth that you're seeing and all the investing and growth that we're having in general, you would see a long-term gain as well. And then as far as Airbnb goes, we are definitely a local destination. There's still land around the lake that's not built on yet, that you could literally buy land and build a house on the lake. I mean, where can you see that, anywhere else, especially Southern California? There's just none
Yeah.
left. And
Yeah.
so there are Airbnbs on the lake now that are built out, and I think they're getting between 3 to 450 per night
What?
for a home on the lake, because they do have waterfront access, and you can walk down right down to the lake and go fishing. You can hop on your jet skis. It is a high I think it's called a high speed zone, so you can get all the high speed equipment out on the lake because it's so big. So definitely Airbnb destination. We have that, like I said, the minor league baseball stadium, which is really exciting. Great
Yeah.
family fun. It's called Storm Baseball, and the RV destination. Now that we have that, that's been a huge draw, and they're in the works right now to build a state of the art sports complex, which will actually be also on the southern side, and it's multiple acres with 1,000 square foot buildings for tennis and basketball and volleyball and all kinds of things like that. And we know that we have hotels who are basically waiting for that project to be finished, and then they're going to want to come in as well. So definitely Airbnb, I think, has a huge opportunity to be here.
That's amazing, all the growth. Again, we're, an hour from each other, and I did not know all of that stuff. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. I love when a city cares and a city gets involved and a city is trying to make better quality life for their residents. And it sounds like with everything going on, they're really proactive, and that's what makes a community great. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
I do have three more questions for you. But before we get to that part of the show, I do want to give people an opportunity to connect with you. We're both realtors that are hungry for new business. So if they want to work with you to buy or sell real estate, how should they reach you? If you're watching it on YouTube, you can see the info. But for those listening on the podcast, why don't you tell them how to find you?
Sure. My sort of rule and the way I operate is if I'm awake and available, I reply. So I realize that our industry is not a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. So best way to get a hold of me is actually by phone. Shoot me a text or give me a call. Area code 949-6000-776. You can also email me, realtorjasond@gmail.com, or my website, realtorjasondevor.com, which is just my first and last name with the word realtor in front.
Awesome. Well, if you guys are considering moving to Lake Elsinore, I highly recommend Jason. He's a great real estate agent, but he's also a really great person. And that has a huge advantage when you're house hunting or going to sell. You want someone who's looking out for you. So there's my testimonial. You can send me a gift card later for the plug.
Already on its way.
If you do want to connect with me, I'm looking for Instagram followers. So I'm at Danae Aballi on Instagram, and there's my cell phone number too. Same. I am always looking for new clients. So reach out to either of us if you need help. All right. On to the next portion of the show. I did not ask you this. So hopefully you have an answer. I didn't prep you for it. But is
I'll
there
have an
one
answer.
tip or thing that out of area home buyers often don't know, but maybe they should know before moving to Lake Elsinore? Anything come to mind there?
Yes. So we've talked a lot about the amazing growth and all the amazing amenities that we have here in the beautiful parks, and we have a state of the art skate park that's worth over $1 million. We've got all this beautiful, amazing stuff, and dog parks, and right, all this stuff. But somebody's got to pay for it. So one of the things that a lot of people come from Orange County, they don't realize, or coming from LA or San Diego, we have special assessment taxes out here. So you
Ah,
have your standard tax, and then you have a special assessment house, which is based on it's a really long, drawn out thing. I won't bore you on how special assessments work or why they're there, but they pay for all that nice stuff and the nicer schools and the nicer roads and the new lights. So you get what you pay for. So some people don't realize, and that can be anywhere from an extra $1,200 a year to sometimes I've seen it up to $4,500 a year. So something that may be taken into consideration when you're looking at that overall payment for your affordability. But again, I will just leave you. I know you're like, oh no, scratch that. But I will say you get what you pay for. And when you come down here, you can notice a difference that everything is beautiful
yeah.
because you're paying for it. So
Well, I will just throw a little California plug in there. I have a few people that are moving to Texas. They're moving out of state. And on the surface level, Texas seems like it's a lot cheaper. But one thing people don't realize is most of the property tax in Texas is 2 to 3% of the purchase price. So if you're talking kind of the maximum $4,500, that's less than 1% based on the 500-ish price point. So comparison wise, it's actually really low property tax. So You can move to Lake Elsinore and not have to move out of state. Don't deal with the hailstorms, the tornadoes, whatever else they have going on. Live in beautiful Southern California, pay a hair more for all the services and amenities. So, just something to think about. Not one's right or better than the other, but something to consider.
There you go.
All right. So I would like to ask you about a transaction highlight of the day. The purpose of this question is to basically give people a sense, including me, what a typical transaction might be like, or maybe it's not typical, but just one that's kind of fresh transaction so we can get a sense of the speed of the market.
Sure. I have a listing right now that we have a multiple counter out. I did this morning, and it's a home in Menifee, which is just maybe 20 minutes away. It's relatively close, and it's a big house, maybe 3,800 square feet. And we listed it for 669, which is what literally the model match sold for. And we have offers over 700 at this point, and we listed it on a Wednesday. We had an open house over the weekend, and we had multiple offers. We actually opened escrow. One of the buyers ended up getting cold feet for who knows, because that just happens. We relisted it again, and we already are back in a multiple offer situation again in that same price range. So it
Yeah.
happened very quickly.
Yeah, it's the multiple offer scenario is still uh, thick and heavy everywhere you go. If you are looking to buy, just know it's something you're going to have to deal with. That there are more humans than houses, so you're going to be up against other people. But I think part of the reason too is if you look at, even though that's a big number, but that's a big house. If you compare that monthly mortgage payment, which I don't know how much they're putting down, but I can almost guarantee it's going to be less than renting that house. And that's the beauty, is you're locking in that payment for 30 years. And that's why people are fighting over the real estate, because it's in the end going to save them more money than renting. And that's my personal thought. So
I will also add that out here, solar is huge because
mm,
we're mainly a single family market. We have most homes have solar out here, and they have really good systems. So this home in particular has over 100% offset. And for a house that large, where an electric bill would probably be $500-600, and
yeah,
could be even more in the summer when it's hot. Again, because we're
yep,
in and when I say hot, I mean 90 degrees.
yeah,
Not super hot. It's a great system, and so people take value in that as well. Most buyers see solar out here as a utility that they would have had to pay anyway, so most of them are willing to assume whatever lease
sure,
or financing or anything was on it
yeah.
to begin with. So
Yeah, it's interesting because maybe people don't realize, but the Edison system, which most of us are paying our electric on, the feed depends on the time of day, or at least my plan does. I know there's a way to opt in some other way, but if I literally run my washer and dryer at 4 o'clock in the afternoon versus 1 o'clock in the morning, it's like a third of the price, and I can't do laundry at 1 o'clock in the morning. So another benefit of solar is you're kind of guaranteed one low rate no matter what time of day. I'm sure you got to check your solar contract and check your Edison contract. Just fact check everything I just said. But in general, the solar contract, you get kind of a guaranteed rate, which is better for budgeting purposes.
yes, you know what's
Yeah.
coming.
Yes, exactly. All right. One final question for you is, if someone were going to come visit you for the weekend, can you give us a recommendation what they should do or see while they are there?
Oh my gosh. Well, we covered a lot of the
I
fun stuff. And I'm probably beating a dead horse at this point, but definitely Storm Baseball is huge. I mean, you can sit at first base for like $9. I mean, it's a minor league, and it's really family focused. So there's basically in between every inning, they have like games that they're doing on the field and giveaways. And my daughter, who's 5, loves going just to run up and down the stadium stairs. So definitely a family fun environment. If you're a sporting type person, definitely come check out the RV. It's called Launch Point, which
Mhm.
is it's Launch Dash Point with an E at the end. Go figure. But Launch Point has great amenities, great prices. You can pull your RV up in there and stay. Let's see what else we have. Skydive Elsinore. We're known as like
Oh,
an action capital, so we have skydiving out here in Lake Elsinore, which happens every day of the week. You can pretty much look up and see somebody skydiving. We have a raceway over here that you can check out. We have motocross you can check out. Downtown is great, lots of great eateries and things to enjoy. So and it's all relatively close. I mean, you can get from one side of town to the other in less than 15 minutes. So you can hit all of that stuff in not very long.
I have been to one of your baseball games, not yours,
Mhm.
but Storms, and it was a lot of fun. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is these are pro players. I mean, it's the minor leagues, but there are the pros that maybe get injured and come play there. But it was really, really exciting, and like you said, super great value. So I second that day. Go out on Saturday and check it out.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on, Jason. It was a lot of fun, and you're a wealth of knowledge and a good person on top of it. So thank you again for coming.
thank you.
I will link to your website in the show notes below, but I hope you get some business from it. And there it is. Thanks for coming.
Awesome. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Appreciate it.
See you guys.